made a series of stops on fourth down, had the interception, also a lot of yards along the way. So how do you kind of evaluate and assess both in real time and looking at the film of last week?
Well, I mean, the bottom line is our guys found a way to win. It wasn't always pretty. I liked how we started the game. I think that our guys did a nice job of being really effective against the run and trying to take the run away, and that's where they start. And I thought we played with really good physicality to do that. What we didn't do a very good job of is get lined up, and that's on me as a coach and all of us coaches, in getting our guys to get that sense of urgency and get the call in quick. We're playing against 2 first-round draft pick receivers in a quarterback with a live arm. We were a little bit limited in what we did just because of the injury situation. Not that it's an excuse, but they're good coaches, and they started figuring out what we were doing. And our guys just continue to keep playing hard. And when we had those critical, fourth down plays, we made 3 of them. Those are essentially turnovers. And I was really proud that our guys stepped up in those moments, and I think that was the difference in the ballgame.
When tempo has hit you each of the past 2 weeks, I don't imagine it'll be employed much this week. How do you go about in practice this week, next week, to address that and 12 personnel when they were hitting you there a little bit in the third?
Yeah. Well, with tempo, what you've got to do is you've got to put your guys in those situations where they know the automatics that we go to. So they're not waiting for a call from the sideline, and that's something we've practiced the last couple of days, and we'll continue to practice that until we get better at it.
DJ Johnson's a guy that you turn to on Saturday. Certainly a guy with some comfort, having played there. What does he bring to the table in your eyes on defense?
Well, I'll tell you, he's got a lot of similar physical traits to Mikhail. I think both those guys are really fluid in the hips, really good speed, ball skills, understand our package, and understand what offenses are trying to do. So, when you've got both those guys at the number 1 position, you feel pretty good about not having to give them help all the time. And so, we can play some defenses where you're playing man on the island out there. At times we need to, give them some help. But, with him and Mikhail both, I think we feel as a coaching staff that they don't need that help all the time, that they can go one-on-one with just about anybody in the country.
How would you assess the play in the secondary? I know the stats say one thing, but I know some of it's schematic and what you're trying to do game plan-wise. How would you guys play out there?
Well, the big thing we talked to our guys about last week was Ohio State was effective in getting explosive plays. They were getting chunk plays of 50, 60, 70 yards and not having to drive. And we thought if we could keep it in front and make them go the long, hard way, that we would have a better chance to win the football game. And I think for the most part we did that. We didn't let them get the ball thrown over our heads. Give them credit. We had some pretty tight coverage that they hit some, guys draped all over them, and they made good throws and catches. So, take nothing away from them. It wasn't just us. We played a good football team, and like I said, I was pleased with the way our guys competed, particularly on fourth down. And when it got down tight to the red zone, of making them, go for it on fourth down and getting those stops.
Behind the thought, though, I think Triquez is now field as opposed to being boundary. What was the thought there?
We keep mixing guys up just so that they don't get a beat on where guys are. Each week, we're going to look for different matchups and try to get our best matched up on their best. Last week was particularly hard because they had 3 excellent receivers, and it's like, pick your poison.
How do you assess the significance of Bennett Williams and just what he did? It seemed like most every tackle was solo or right near the line of scrimmage.
I thought Bennett really stepped up. He's a guy that is a really heady football player, very physical. He probably doesn't have the most downfield speed, but he plays with a twitch, a really fast edge where he can make plays. And you're absolutely right. He had some open field tackles where if he doesn't make it, that thing may go for a bit. And he was solid and got guys down all the time. He timed up the blitz pretty good when we needed to make a stop there in the high red zone and got them off track so that, we got them into a third and long and then a fourth down where we got to stop. He's made a ton of plays for us. And, between him and Jamal, we really feel good about that star position because both of them have that explosive ability.
You employed a true dime last week. What did you see from Addison in particular to do that, and why you chose the corner combination as opposed to putting Jamal and Bennett together, put Addison deep, and I think it was Manning, Quez, Bennett, etc. Kale.
Well, when we get into some definite throw situations like we did at the end of the football game, we want to look for our best matchups, and we're going to mix up some pressure, some man, some zones. One of the things that I think Brian does a really nice job of is playing that deep safety position because he's got such speed and range. And I think, playing our dime package for him is ideal. And it's something that I think as he continues to play, he'll get more confidence, and then hopefully that'll translate to more, normal down and distance situations.
After Keith's performance last week, what do you want to see out of him making his first start in his home state?
Well, I'm hoping he stays healthy. He got dinged up a little bit last week, but I'll tell you what, for a guy, a year ago was playing high school ball to have to, go into the shoe and play well. He played hard. Like most of our guys, he wasn't always right, but he was going fast. And he didn't practice a ton last week. He was dinged up as well. So the fact that he stepped up, got out there and competed, I was really impressed with. And I think he's going to, obviously get a lot of confidence from being able to step up and look at himself and say, I competed against a pretty good ball team and held my own. Wasn't always perfect, but we'll learn from there and keep going from there.
What makes Bassa such a good fit inside? What makes him a good fit inside coming from safety, and how has he progressed in the last 10 days or so?
Well, you look at him and he slapped together pretty good. He's a guy that's very, very physical, smart football player. He moves like elite linebackers do. He can sink his hips, run, change direction. He's a guy that can cover backs out of the backfield, so he gives you a lot of possibilities as a will linebacker that you're looking for. He was playing the dime backer position, the first couple of weeks, so it's kind of a natural progression. Obviously, his run fits are something we're going to continue to work with because that's a little bit new for him. But a lot of things he does was what he was doing as a star, which is a glorified Sam position.
What do you think you learned about this defense that you didn't know before you guys went to Ohio?
Well, I think we've got some decent depth of guys that'll compete, and guys that don't flinch in a tough environment. We were reeling a little bit there in the second half. We gave up a couple drives, but in the late in that fourth quarter, the last 3 times they had the ball, they didn't score. And to have guys step up, have guys like DJ who caught a first down pass, and we repped him a few times last week as a defensive end, and taught him a couple of things. For him to go in and get a sack when we needed to was really encouraging. You got guys like Brandon Buckner who in a third down role can really rush the passer. He stepped up. The moment wasn't too big for him. So getting a chance to see some guys. Nate Hukalani. Here's a guy who's walked on here, and the game obviously, is in the balance, and he's out there making plays for us. And, for all those guys to step up the way they did and perform when they had to against an excellent team, I think it does nothing but give our guys confidence, and it gives me confidence that no matter what happens, our guys will find a way.
In what areas have you seen? In what areas have you seen Jabril McNeil make kind of the most improvement, kind of since preseason?
Well, it's been tough on him because he started as an outside backer for us, so he moved halfway through. He played inside backer, as a high school senior, so he's got some natural, physical traits there. He's just got to learn the playbook a little bit better. He's a little undersized right now. We got to put some more meat on him, but we think he's got a really big upside. And once he understands more what to do and then puts that weight on, he's going to be a heck of a backer.
Playbook-wise, do you feel like he's at least where he needs to be to get out there?
He's getting closer, and again, it wasn't really his fault. He started, at outside, and then as we, had some injuries, hit us, we had to move about halfway through camp to inside. So, he's progressing really well. He's just not quite where we want him to be.